So with this is not something that you can let go of. You have to keep going and selecting because you saw I just let go. I released my finger from my mouse or my Wacom or my trackpad, whatever it is, and you just see that it made its own little shape. So I need to deselect that, and I just need to follow this around. So I don't think this is as strong as the magnetic tool, but again, maybe you want something funky and fun and you want to select it differently. That's okay. As long as that's what's called for. And there we go. So again, moving this over. And this is my noodle nose. And here is my blackberry. And the great thing about layers is that I can rearrange them. So nothing really needs to be rearranged right now because I need all my fruit on top of my melon, which it is. But let's say for some reason I wanted the blackberry behind the melon. All I have to do is move that. And you can see I'm clicking and dragging. I'm not letting go of my layer. Now in the layers panel, it's turning into a blue bar. And there we go. It's gone. And I could switch that. I can rotate them. It's great. So with this, let's make maybe an interesting beard. So I'm going to take my blackberry and I'm just going to put him on top here. And I am going to copy him. So with a Mac, I can do Option Command, click and drag, and you saw I got those two arrows, black and white one, okay? I can also come up here and I can do Command J, and though nothing has moved because I didn't physically move it yet, it is sitting right on top of there. I'm going to do Free Transform, Command T, I'm going to rotate that, and I'm going to hit Enter to apply that, and there I go again, Free Transform, groovy little jazz player guy I'm making perhaps. Oop, we don't want to do that. Watch that, there we go. And also what I can do is come down here, go to New, and there's another way to do that. So all I did was click and drag that down to the new layer, and there's another way. So the good thing about Photoshop, and maybe the bad thing, is that there's a million different ways you can do one thing. So it can get really confusing sometimes, but just find the way that works for you, and that's easiest for you to remember and do, and you'll be fine. Now there's a lot of blackberry layers happening here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them in their own folder so it doesn't get so confusing for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click here, I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to click on my last blackberry. And all these are now highlighted. Now what I'm going to do is now right click with my mouse, and I'm going to group from layers. And I can call this blackberry. And then push OK. And so now they're all there. If I want them gone, so I don't have to individually go down and do that. I group them and they're good to go. All right, deselect there, Command D. All right, now let's try the cherry and we'll do the quick selection tool, which again is my favorite. Now again, this is way too big. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go and make the size a bit smaller. And all I had to do was click and do that. Now if I wanted this bigger, what you can do, the hotkey that I love about this is that if I do my right bracket key, the size will go up. If I do my left, the size will go down. And I love that because that really quickens my pace with selection. So I'm going to select this. Okay, now I've selected way too much here. It's just gone a little overboard. What I want to do now is that I can come up here and I can move this. I can toggle, I can switch it over to minus, but all I have to do is push Option, which is a really helpful add-on to a hotkey, and you'll find it works for a lot of things. And I'm going to come and suck that back in. I don't want that white, so I'm selecting the white and sucking it back in there, okay? And then it's going to figure itself out and work a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to make this smaller, left bracket key. I'm going to suck this back in, pull this back out, and you can see the reason why it's troubling is because this red has a lot of white in it, so it's not quite sure what to do there. That's why in any case the pen tool is probably one of your best options for selecting, but we will get at that into a different video. And I'm going to make this much smaller, and I'm just going to come up, do my best to stay in the green so it knows about the green, and then again pull my option or go over there to your option menu and suck that right on in there like a little vacuum. So here's my little cherry. I'm going to bring it over to my melon, click and drop it down. And again, because of that white, the option or the quick selection, because of that white, the quick selection did an okay job. There was just a lot of white in that red, so it could have been a bit better, but now you know. I do tend to use quick selection over any selection tool besides the pen tool. He's looking funny. Let me turn back on the blackberry so we have that beard going on. And you never have to obviously select the whole thing. Maybe I just wanted a half a tomato, so I could have just done half a tomato. And then let's go to the magic wand tool and click. And you can see here, like, with this, it went with the bright instead of the whole thing. Where, let's try a quick selection and see if it would have picked up the whole thing. If I would click and drag over, it did that perfectly, much better than the cherry. But with the magic wand, even though I am clicking and dragging like I just did with the quick selection, it's only picking up the bright. So if you keep clicking and dragging, holding down shift, because it's adding to it. So that just means it's adding to its previous selection. You can see it's working there. But let's try maybe the carrot. And we had a little bit better luck. Again, if you have like a bright blue sky that's a clear 100% blue, the same hue all the way around, does a great job. But when you have a difference like this carrot, it could be a little bit nasty. Now, with all these selection tools, it's great because they can all work together. So I can come up here, finish it with my quick selection, and then move it on over to my melon. And then there we go. So again, we worked with free transform, we worked with moving, adding layers, making a group. Let's just say with this melon, this would be a good way to use magic wand. I come down to my melon, making sure that's selected, click on my white, and then because it's pure white, nothing is in its way, it's easily being able to erase. So there you go, click and away it goes. Now what I would then do is make a new one, a new layer. I drag it down to the bottom, deselect because I no longer want that selection, and maybe I want, and I'm going to come down here to my colors. Now usually this is set to black and white or white and black, whatever it is, but I can come down here, click on it, and I can make a new color up. Maybe for some reason this is the color I want. So with this, I can then come to my paint bucket and just fill that in. And I can do that by coming over here. Now usually it will be the gradient that's over here in the tools. So I'm just going to click and make sure I can click on that. Select that, and there we go. And then so maybe with my carrots, I want a couple ears. So I'm going to do Option Command, click and drag. Option Command, click and drag. And let's do carrot ear left and carrot ear right. And naming your layers can get away from you very quickly, so just try to be on top of that as much as you can, because it really does help. And so I'm going to actually bring these guys down, and I'm going to drag them below my melon and click them on them once, and there we go. Now he has some nice ears, got a little goatee looking thing going on. It's very cool, relaxed melon. And then if I wanted to save this, I can do File, Save As, or Command S if you want to. And depending on what you want to do, if you want to edit it again and keep it editable, I would always do PSD. If you want to save it, maybe put it on the internet, show all your cool friends, your nice little melon head, you can do JPEG. You can also do PDF, and then you would just name it here and save it to your desktop or wherever you decide to save it. But there you go, that's a nice little beginning breakdown for you of Photoshop.